Welcome back to BarryTsGarage. I'm looking forward to meeting with Ed. And today he's starting up a fresh 454 build. It's always just a little bit unique in one way or another. And also he's covering the Holley carburetor. It's a 750 double pumper. He's going to fine tune it once the engine gets rolling. And we're going to talk about how that works. So come on along. A little bit of fuel showing up in there. What are you rigging up there with that clothes hanger wire, Ed? Oh, you're just a little hose keeper, huh?
It's a hose from getting down on the exhaust. Keep it low.
Better, might as well play it safe. It is gasoline after all.
This happens to be a new Holley car. This is a 454. Ongoing build. And we're going to start up and run it for the first time before we send it to a customer.
Okay.
And we got the Additive intake manifold. I think this one has roller lifters because we like to have roller lifters in our own since with the problems and stuff. And then it has this Holley carburetor. And so it's a new type carburetor. It's for 750. This one here is a double pump carburetor. It's got an accelerator pump in the rear barrels.
Okay.
And actually, we used to have a fit in here. Then you took it off, and then that float level would be coming out, dripping out of here. And you tell how much the float level is.
So if it started dripping, that was your float level.
Yeah, and then we could just stop it right there if it dripped out of here a little bit.
Okay.
And then so now the new one's just got a glass.
Huh.
So you don't have to take that plug out while it's running. You can set the float level with this glass hole in it. Yeah.
Yes, you got a sight glass.
Yeah, this is a manual choke carburetor.
Okay.
A wire one here if you want to use a choke. It's an accelerator pump in the front barrels and an accelerator pump in the back barrels. So that's called a double pumper.
Right.
And then early carburetors and some of the smaller carburetors did not have this jet plate in the back.
Okay.
So this jet plate was a fixed plate, a little skinny one and a metering box. So now this one here happens to be a jet plate, so you can, in this plate here, there's jets in it, whatever you want, jet. The same one in the back.
Okay.
Some of them didn't have this second jet plate for the smaller carburetor.
Now, how many jets are in the plate?
There's two jets
in each plate? Okay.
So 4 jets, yeah. And this particular one, again, is a really expensive carburetor. We've talked about this before, the air jets. So look at these little jets down here. This is the jets, and we can change those jets. Little brass jets there. And then this is part of that flow system that you can, it's important to jet the airflow as much as it is the fuel flow. Because it has to be kept at 14.2 or something is ideal for a carbureted engine. And this carburetor, you see, is a little bit more rounded here. Yep. Machined and stuff. So this carburetor is probably, I'll have to check it, maybe a $800 or $900 carburetor. Yeah.
And I see you have the same thing down in here. Just a little bit deeper in there.
Yeah. And before we used to take these out and put these jets in ourselves.
Okay.
And some of our alcohol carburetors are that way too.
Okay.
Yeah, where we jet the air. And 2 of these are idle jets, air, and 2 of them are main metering jets. Okay. That was like I was saying before, in a carburetor, we'll have some lesson on things, is if you had a siphon tube where this fuel is siphoned from the bowl down into the jets and down into the carburetor venturis, then if it flows solid, it would be a solid flow of fuel. So if you didn't want that, in that make-believe tube or fake tube, drill a hole in the top. So now it brings fuel up and adds air to it. So the more air you put into it, the leaner the carburetor. So now that's what those jets are we just seen. We can change those jets to make that carburetor leaner or richer.
And you're doing it with air, not fuel.
Air. Well, the air, and then the jets on the bottom for the fuel flow.
Right.
So you have a fuel flow going into the down through the carburetor,
Mm-hmm.
and you also have an airflow.
Okay, so how do you decide which ones to add and subtract to get the balance you want?
Well, actually, that's what we do with put your finger over something like this or whatever else.
Okay.
And then we have instruments to do that. Yeah. The same thing that they test emissions with. Oxygen sensors do the same thing on a fuel injection stuff. Yeah.
Sure.
And of course, these are just float bowls.
Okay.
Because you have a area here that goes up this here, and it just has this near both has so the air flows. Just keep the air balanced in the thing.
Well, you can't have a vacuum where the float is.
That's right, yeah.
So
this is just a balance of the volume of fuel in the bowl. Yeah.
I see. Okay. And I think I've seen people, if a car's been sitting around for a long time and maybe the gas is all evaporated out of it, they'll fill the carburetor with this.
Yes.
To get gas.
You're just putting it in the bowl instead of running in the fuel. Yeah.
You're right. Just pour it in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes you might put a little carburetor cleaner.
Uh-huh.
You're just going to spray it. You would spray it down that hole.
Okay.
And that would go right into the bowl and dilute the gasoline with some cleaner.
Okay.
And that would help clean the jets. And as the gas flows through it, you'd have that cleaner going right through it. Other than that, that would be the direct cleaning process instead of pouring something in the gas tank. In the 20 gallons of gas tank, you put a quart or something.
Right.
And it has to clean the whole gas tank, clean the lines, the fuel pump, and everything else.
Right.
If you wanted to clean the carburetor, you just put the additive in here that clean it right in these holes.
Okay.
And you can put a hose over that.
Right. And just put it in there.
Put a funnel over it and fill it right up. But
now, what's the advantage of putting the cleaner in here versus just pouring cleaner in the...
Well, if you're cleaning in here, it just goes nothing.
Okay.
That's what we said one time that these little jets here will get dirt in them. They're sensitive.
Yeah.
Really sensitive. Even I've had some carburetors where I put my hand in here and didn't touch anything, and the carburetor ran smoother. Just by putting my fingers in here, changed the airflow. Just by putting something in here. So now, if this gets a little dirt around here, that's when the guy gets the spray and sprays this carburetor, and it starts it up, and it runs a lot smoother. He didn't clean the main function of the carburetor.
Right.
He cleaned the air jets. Yeah. Whether he knew it or not.
Right. You mentioned that, but now we get to see them.
Yeah.
And see how small it is.
Carburetor spray. He just cleaned these, and now the air flows in there. Right?
Well, I guess in certain situations that's enough, right?
It's enough. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of times it's enough.
But interesting.
So carburetor, and a lot of people don't understand. It's like we were down at the dyno at 454 a while back, and he said something about Tinkeritis. Sometimes if people get tinker, start jetting the carburetor and jetting this and that and changing it, it's not a good idea unless you completely know what you're doing. We're going to put water in it right now.
Yeah, so you're going to run it for a little while?
Yeah, we're going to run it. We'll probably run it for maybe 2 or 3 days. Make sure it's okay. Warm it up several times and make sure everything's okay, and then we'll ship it to him. Well, what is this, 454?
Yeah.
How big is it? 60 over?
This one's 60 over.
60 over.
Roller cam.
Well, yeah.
And this one has booster cut valve covers to clear certain applications.
Oh, it's higher valve covers?
No, booster. It's got the booster cut in the back, so this will clear like the Corvette application.
Oh, okay.
Chevelle, stuff that has a bigger booster on that side.
Yeah.
So roller cam, roller tip
dish
rockers.
in the back of the valve cover here to miss the power brake booster if you put it in a Corvette or something.
Yeah.
I see.
So it's just a couple things.
It's kind of our standard package. These ones, we've dynoed them. They're about 450 horse.
Okay.
You decide,
that's very nice. And reliable horsepower.
Exactly. Stout, reliable horsepower, daily driver, idles just fine on the street.
Are you ready to start it?
Yeah. Well, I got to put water in.
Okay. Well, we'll come back.
Okay. All right. And you're watching. Yeah, there you go. Not too much.
thanks so much for all your support of the channel. If you want to, please go to EdSmithSpeed.Shop, and there you'll find a few things, some hats, t-shirts, jackets, some things. We've got a little something there for you. So thanks for joining us.